back to the Zoom. This is Jean at worldwellnesseducation.org. And my phone number is 352-459-1655. And Jennifer is putting that in the chat right now, so you'll have it. We also do health and wellness fairs. I have one coming up in Duluth in April, so you can see me there. And as a part of my journey to help people keep well, I've written a number of books. And so the one that I've written is Journey to Raw. And all of my books are written with one change a week for 52 weeks, because when I was diagnosed with an incurable cancer, according to the medical industry, I had to make every change I could figure out. And I had to do it as fast as possible. You have the luxury, and your relatives have the luxury of making one change a week. So this is one change a week to add more raw food into your diet. And there's clinics all over the United States that advocate a raw food diet for healing. Another one I wrote was Are You Toxic? And this is one change a week to get the toxins out of your life. And it's absolutely amazing where you can find toxins. And they're in the Are You Toxic book, there's even some recipes for like toothpaste, so that you can have non-toxic toothpaste that you can just make. My first book that I wrote, I call it my prevention magazine level book, and it's 52 small weekly changes to become more healthy in a year. And what I did with this one is it's pretty much really basic stuff. So anybody who's on this call, it wouldn't be appropriate for, but probably all your relatives. And you guys all know what I mean by that. And then the last one is Finding Joy. And after I wrote all the books about how many things we needed to get out of our life and how many things were bad in our life, I felt that I needed to do Finding Joy. And it's one change a week to add more joy to your life. There's a fourth book that I don't have in hard copy, and that is called Journey to Wellness Through Food, and it's a recipe book. So that one you can only get in a digital copy. If you're interested in a digital copy, you can go to worldwellnesseducation.org, and you can click on Jean's books up in the left-hand corner, and the books will come up and you can order the digital copy. If you want a hard copy, you actually have to email me and we'll work out how I will get that to you. The books are $15, and that's a donation to World Wellness, and you just get the book as a gift. So I've told you our website, worldwellnesseducation.org. If you become a member, and you can go to the website, and in the right-hand corner, there's a button that you can click on to become a member. All we need is your first name and your email. You'll get a weekly email from me, and in that email, I will share people's stories about going from diagnosis to vibrant health, recipes, articles, and stories, and information about new technology. Like last week on Wednesday, I put some information about a new technology that I'm going to share a little bit with you today, but it's real new to me, so I don't share a lot at this time until I really believe it works. So you can become a member for free, so please join us. So just to give you a little bit of background about my story and how I ended up being able to do these talks with the co-op, considering that my real job back in the day was to be a banker. So now here I am teaching about wellness. Well, how did that come about? When I was diagnosed in 2007 with a cancer that the medical world had no protocol for, except watch and wait. That was not what I wanted to do. So I immediately started finding ways to get well. And at that time, I literally knew nothing about alternative healing. I didn't know that food was as powerful as it is. And so it was a step-by-step process. The first thing I did was learn that I should be vegetarian. And so I changed my diet to vegetarian, and eventually vegan, and then eventually back to somewhere in between. You know, we can do what we can do. So I explored spirituality, exercise, stress relief, A lot about detoxing, and my detoxing was things like juicing vegetables, and a raw diet is a really good detox. Colonics is another way to detox. There's many ways to detox. And so you just have to explore those and find out which ones you can do and which ones you don't really want to do. For example, fasting, doing a water fast is a great way to detox. It's not been my favorite way. I also did other modalities. Somebody said I needed to do massages, so I did massages every week for a couple of years. I did chiropractic. I did some oxygen therapy, and that was an interesting ordeal because I did that with a oncologist, and she had more belief in the oxygen therapy than she did in the protocol, but she'd gone to medical school and she still had to pay for her medical school. Pulse electromagnetic frequency and frequency healing, and also by learning all about how we need to heal our guts, because the standard American diet is ruining our gut flora, which is like 98% of our health and wellness. So that's just kind of the stuff I did to get to this point in my life where I'm still here and I'm still fairly healthy. So we talked last time a lot about frequency and frequency healing. We went over all of the different ways you can use frequency from music to machines. And today I want to just spend a little bit of time talking about some of the machines that I've actually used and had successes with. And the first thing I want to talk about is Beamer. And Jean Shostrand is on the line, and she has a great testimonial. So if we can have Jean tell her testimonial now, that would be awesome.
Jean, go ahead and unmute for that.
Myself here. Sorry you can't see me. I got dressed up. I put on some earrings, and here I can't. My camera's not working. So I'll be calling the Geek Squad. So hello, everyone. I'm Jean Shostrand, and I live in northwestern Minnesota. And my story's a lot of fun because it started out with me thinking I could keep up with my 7-year-old granddaughter in Alaska. So I'm 69 now, and this is about 7 years ago. And what happened was we were going to be sliding down a hill. Well, you know, I grew up sliding down hills that are like maybe as high as your garage. Well, in Alaska, the hills are a lot bigger. So I went up 2/3 of the way on the hill and went down a nice inner tube. I thought, if she can do it, I can do it, right? Grandma Jean's going to keep up. Well, then I went up. She went all the way to the top of the hill. So I thought, well, I can do that. I got over my fear now. I know I can just lay back on this inner tube. So I went all the way up and I started sliding down, and I was heading towards a little batch of bushes. And I thought, oh, I'm going to hit them. So I did what I knew I should do. I laid back, hung on, turned my head to the side and shut my eyes. And from what I hear from my son and my husband, the inner tube hit the bush, went flying out from underneath me. I went 3 to 4 feet up in the air, did a 360-degree turn, and landed flat down on my right side. Bam. My husband and my son, I've never seen people run up a hill so far or so fast. And when they got up there, they made sure I could sit up, and my right shoulder really hurt, and so did my right hip. So I went down and I thought, well, it's just bruised. So I, of course, spent the rest of the afternoon sliding down a safer part of the mountain. Went to a massage therapist because I could just lift my shoulder almost, or lift my right arm almost level shoulder height, but it really hurt. And it hurt like a constant toothache, just pound, pound, pound. Massage therapist said, well, you've had it checked. And I said, I'm sure it's just bruised. My right hip was all black and blue, didn't hurt at all. My shoulder, not a bruise, but that's what hurt. Went to a chiropractor when I got home from Alaska. Did you have it checked? No, I'm sure it's just bruised. Meanwhile, constant toothache. Nothing would touch it. Ibuprofen, nothing worked. So finally I went to the doctor. They did an ultrasound, and they did an x-ray, and they did an MRI. And they told me I had fractured my right shoulder and had a full thickness tear through my rotator cuff. And were asking me what I was doing for pain. And I said, well, nothing, because if ibuprofen doesn't work, what would you use? And so I'd been living for almost 6 weeks now with this constant pounding pain. And so they decided that I would need surgery. So I saw the surgeon, and he did a couple of strength tests. And he said, I want you to do light physical therapy first. So I came to do physical therapy. And meanwhile, I called a friend of mine that I did a network marketing supplement with. And I said, you know, what I'm using is just not working. And she said, well, let's call Dr. Mary. Well, didn't know Dr. Mary. She's a naturopath and was an RN. And she right away said, well, are you using your Beamer? And we're like, what is a Beamer? She said, well, let me send you a video. So she sent this 2-minute little video that just shows the change in blood flow by laying on this Beamer, which was a body mat. And then I found out it came with some attachments, like they call it the B pad, but it's like a belt. And then there was a spot if you needed to do something, you know, really a little more intense. And you use this device, seriously, 8 minutes twice a day, but you could use the attachments for up to 20 minutes each time. And you could use it constantly during the day if you wanted to. So I told them, send it to me. I got the Beamer as fast as I could. I started using it. I was going to physical therapy, and the physical therapy people said, we don't know what to do with you because we're supposed to do very light physical therapy, and you're getting so good. Your range of motion is so good. So came time to go back to the surgeon to schedule my surgery. And I was not looking forward to using my left hand to fix my hair and all this good stuff, right? And I get down there, and he has me put my fists together in front of me, one on top of the other, and he pushes down and he says, wow, your strength is really good. What's your range of motion? And I said, well, my range of motion is really good. I said, I put my hands, both of them clasped together over my head. I took and put my right arm behind my head and pulled my elbow, you know, right up behind your head. So your hand is going down to the middle of your back. I could clasp my hands behind my back. I could lift my right arm clear up around everywhere. I had full range of motion. And he said, what have you been doing? And I said, well, I'm using the Beamer. End of the conversation, guys. End of the conversation. Here's how it went with Dr. Peterson. Well, Jean, he says, your range of motion is really good, and you obviously have good strength. So here's what I think happened. I'm pretty sure it was a good thing that you fractured your shoulder, because the fracture is what was leaking blood slowly and what was feeding your rotator cuff. So it was able to repair that full thickness nick through your rotator cuff, because they told me the rotator cuff it wasn't broken all the way across, but it was like a nick in a rubber band. And you know, if you pull a rubber band and it's got a little cut in, it's going to snap. So I said, well, can we please do another MRI so I can make sure? He said, no. He said, you're free to go. And that was it. I was so disappointed in him, but so excited for me, because the Beamer literally changed my life within the 4 weeks or 5 weeks I was doing physical therapy. And I wasn't doing hardly anything in physical therapy because they weren't allowed to let me do much. So that's my Beamer story.
Thanks, Jean. So what is Beamer? Beamer stands for Bio-Electro-Magnetic Energy Regulation Therapy. Big words. But what does it do? It increases your circulation, the oxygen in your blood, your cell's ability to detox, and something called vasomotion, all by about 30%. So in the medical world, to increase your circulation, they put you in a hyperbaric chamber for an hour or two, and that increase in circulation lasts about 8 minutes. By laying on the Beamer mat, you increase your circulation by approximately 30%. You lay on the Beamer mat for 8 minutes, and you have the impact of that for 12 to 16 hours. So this is a technology that came out of Germany, and Germany is a socialized medicine state. And what the state went and asked the Institute of Microcirculation to come up with an option for the seniors in Germany because they were costing the country too much money with all the diseases we have as we age. And that is how the Beamer got developed, and they use it all over Germany. It's fairly new to the United States, and not a lot of people know about it. And I've noticed in Minnesota, it's even more new than it is like on the West and East Coast. So I mentioned vasomotion. So what is vasomotion? So you have about 75,000 miles of arteries, veins, and microvessels. And for some of us, the microvessels used to be called capillaries. So if you refer to them as capillaries, sometimes that helps people understand what they are. So your heart pumps the blood to your arteries and your veins, but the microvessels do their own pumping. They do kind of a squeezing action like this. And when you're young, they squeeze about 50 times in a 10-minute period. When you're older, they may not squeeze at all, which means all of those miles and miles and miles of microvessels are not getting the blood flow they need. So if you think about a lot of the aging diseases, like, you know, people get neuropathy as they age, they get cold hands and feet, they have issues with their organs. Well, all of those things, oh, and also memory, there's, you know, thousands of microvessels in all of those areas. And if they're not getting blood flow, then those interesting diseases take shape. So that using a technology that increases vasomotion by almost 30% is pretty huge, and also circulation. So what the impact on your body is that your cells have more energy, your blood is more oxygenated, you're getting detoxed on a regular basis, your nutrients absorb easier, you have a better cardiac function, better physical fitness. It also will help you if you have stress and injuries from exercise, which we always do, because exercise basically causes our body to be injured. It increases your physical fitness in that way. It gives you more endurance. It'll enhance your focus. I can tell you my story about focus. When I first got my Beamer, I was having trouble finding words. And I remember feeling like I was always playing charades. You know, if I was trying to describe a balloon, I'd go, you know, it's like this, and it has a tail. And then sooner or later, somebody might come up with a balloon. That went away, like within about 3 months of using the Beamer. It completely disappeared. And I very rarely have those issues anymore. And, you know, I was 56 then, I'm 69 now. So it's nice to still have that improved concentration. Beamer has a sleep program, and it can improve your sleep. You can actually run it all night long. It actually helps to take all of the blood flow in and surrounds your organs, so you sleep better, and then pushes that blood flow out in the morning. Works very well. I've heard many, many great stories about the sleep function. It enhances your immune function. And after the stuff we've gone through in the last 2 years, I don't know anybody who doesn't want an enhanced immune function. It actually improves your collagen. And how many of us are taking collagen so we look younger? So this will do that for you. It regulates your autonomic nervous system, reduces stress in the body. So it's a pretty amazing little device. So circulation's really important. We don't talk about it a lot, but the doctors are always measuring it and wondering how you're doing. Well, what you find out is there are so many things, symptoms of poor circulation. For example, we've all had the cold hands, cold feet, cold fingers, cold toes. because those extremities are being fed more by microvessels than they are by arteries and veins. Neuropathy is a typical one that happens as people age. Feeling tired and having no energy. Some hair loss can be caused by circulation. Dizzy spells, dry skin, lumps in your blood vessels and varicose veins. Headaches can be due to circulation, cramps, pins and needles, short of breath, blotches and blemishes, and the list goes on and on and on. I always tell people when they're thinking about using something like a Beamer that it's important for them to look up what poor circulation does, because it's a pretty big list. I just read about a half of the list. So I do want to try and share a video. So I tried this last time. I didn't have any luck. So I'm going to try again. Hold on a minute. Let me see something here. Well, maybe I'm not going to be able to share a video, but I'll just tell you about it. And I will put it in the chat so that you can watch it later. And it is a video that is about 2 minutes long, and it shows you a live blood cell analysis of what is happening when you're using the Beamer. And at first, the blood platelets are all stuck together and they're not flowing well. And as you use the Beamer, they flow better and better and better. And so it's pretty amazing. It literally changes it from blood that's hardly flowing to blood that's flowing, just like I sometimes say, it's like, the difference between traffic in New York City at rush hour and the traffic on the freeway in northern Minnesota. That sort of gives you the picture. It just is flowing perfectly. So I'm going to put in the chat a Beamer brochure. It's a link to a brochure that you can go and take a look at. You'll really enjoy it because it gives you a lot of the science and a lot more information. And it's an important device. I wish that everyone could have a Beamer because it has made such a difference in my life. It's very expensive. Most people say it's too expensive, but let me tell you a story. So my husband had quadruple bypass surgery when he was 41 years old. And after that, anytime he got chest pains, the protocol was call an ambulance, get him to the emergency room. Well, we had just gotten our Beamer and had it for about 3 weeks when he said, I think I'm having chest pains. And I said, before we go, why don't you just sit on the Beamer for 8 minutes? He did that. He sat on the Beamer for 8 minutes. Pains were gone. That just saved us $7,000 or $8,000 because we didn't have very good insurance at the time. It might have been more than that. And so, that really paid for the Beamer. And then my stepdaughter, just wouldn't buy it because it was so expensive. And so I literally, she ended up having arrhythmia, ended out in the hospital for a few days with all kinds of tests, ended out having a huge deductible that she had to pay. And if she would have gotten the Beamer before that, she probably would have never ended out in that situation. So it's something I think every household could benefit from. And as far as pain relief or discomfort, I have a story about falling down and breaking my rib. And I don't know if you know about how much rib pain hurts, but it's pretty excruciating. So I went on the internet and I looked up how long was I going to be in pain, and it said 3 to 6 weeks. I used my Beamer the way Jean was telling you, you know, intensely all day long, basically. And I was out of pain in 4 days. And what a blessing that was, to be out of pain in 4 days instead of 6 weeks. So it's a pretty amazing technology, and the brochure will help you learn more. And if you're interested in more information about the Beamer, you can call me or email me, and you have my information in the chat. So that's one of my favorite frequency devices. But now I'm going to tell you about an even more favorite one. And this device is called a Healy. So the Healy's small. In fact, I have mine here. Let me show it to you. Well, I did have it. Oh, I have it on. So this is what a Healy looks like. And it comes with a clip. So like if a guy has it, they can just clip it to their collar. I decided I like it better as a necklace. It's easier for me to use, so I made it into a necklace. So the Healy is an individualized microcurrent frequency, and it has programs to harmonize your bioenergetic fields for all kinds of important areas in your life. So before I talk too much about the Healy, I want to talk more about how the Healy came into being. And I want you to take a look at this book. It's called The Resonance Effect by Carolyn Mcmahon. And this is kind of a story about how the Healy came into being. So Carolyn Mcmahon was a chiropractor, or is a chiropractor, I shouldn't say was. And she was working in the same office as a medical doctor. And the medical doctor retired, and she was cleaning out a back office, and she found this frequency machine, and under it, 2 pages of notes about frequency and what frequencies do what. For example, 40 megahertz takes care of pain. And so she had this whole list on these notes, and she thought she would start experimenting with her clients that she wasn't having any success with using chiropractic care. So one of the stories in the book is simply amazing. This woman had fibromyalgia, and she'd had it for 10 years. And she was so sensitive to pain that her husband couldn't even touch her. And she was just in pain all of the time. And so Carolyn worked with her, and it took 3 months of experimenting with the different frequencies. And Carolyn was looking at things like, well, we know she has pain. We know she has inflammation. We know, and then she would find the frequency, and then she combined all those frequencies. So maybe she did the pain frequency for a little bit, and then she might do another frequency for a little bit. And in 3 months, the woman with fibromyalgia was completely healed. And those are the kinds of stories that got me so excited about the Healy. It's pretty amazing. So I would encourage you to get the book, because it will open your eyes to a whole new world of how our bodies can heal. So Healy works on the body, the mind, and the spirit. And it has programs that are working on your physical body, and then programs that work on your emotional body, and programs that work on your bioenergetic field. And just so you get an idea of how many programs, I don't know if you can see how thick this is, but this is just a listing of the programs that are in this little teeny tiny device. There's 144,000 different frequencies used, and there's over 120 programs. So to give you an idea about some of the programs, I'm gonna read some of the programs to you. So the thing that you always start with on the Healy is called the gold programs. And the gold programs include peer, care, balance, being, energy, relax, and release. And basically, the gold programs actually starts getting your body used to using frequencies for healing. And it's, for example, peer is a good starting point for you. It's designed to help your body's energy field recover from the bioenergetic effects of environmental factors. So we all know that there are electromagnetic frequencies that are bad for us. For example, our cell phones, the microwave. And so the different frequencies that are impacting your body are taken care of by the peer program. And so that's just kind of how Healy works, is that it works through these different frequencies to improve each part of your body. So here's another one, learning. There's a group of programs called Learning, and it's about memory, concentration, and stress. And then there's a group of programs called Fitness, and that's about weight and muscle and circulation and performance and strength and stamina. So it's more about the physical, but it also has deep relaxation in there. So you never know what's going to be important for you to use today. So like I said, this goes on and on and on and on and on. My favorite that I'm going to start using more now that I reviewed the programs again, getting ready to talk to you about them, is beauty, because beauty has aging in it. And when you get to be 69, you want to look younger. So beauty has hair, skin, aging, nails, and skin elasticity. So those are all programs you could be running, and they're amazing. So it works using your phone. So it'll use an Apple phone or a what's the other phones called? You know, a non-Apple phone. How's that? And so it has two apps that you download to your phone. One's called the Pink Dot app and one's called the Blue Dot app. The exciting thing about the Blue Android, thank you. The exciting thing about the Blue Dot app is that it actually analyzes you and tells you what programs you need today. So what is the thing your body needs the most? So one of the things that I like to do is I always like to start with the Blue Dot app and analyze. And sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes it's just so right on, you can't believe it. So I know you wouldn't think that somebody that's really into wellness would ever overdrink. Well, one day I overdrank a little bit. And the next morning I did an analysis and said alcohol. And then my husband passed away in the fall. And it was so amazing, the difference before and after his transition as to the programs that were recommended for me. It was completely different than I had been getting before he passed. And it was all related to emotions and the grief process. So it's pretty good at analyzing you and telling you what you want. And so that makes this really easy to use, because if you have this whole list of programs and you don't know what to use today, then it's just amazing to be able to say, okay, I'm just going to let the machine tell me what my body needs today. And so this morning, for example, I got the gold cycle when I asked it what I needed. And I also got the sleep program. Well, I have to tell you, I was up at 2 a.m. this morning, so I think it knew I needed the sleep program. So it's kind of fun to have a little tiny machine like that tell you what you need today. So the Pink Dot app you use with bracelets. So if I were to have the bracelets on, they would hook into here, the ends of them, and then I would have bracelets on. But they also have developed this thing right here, which is called a coil, which actually you can use your Healy without the bracelets, but that's an additional thing you have to purchase. I love the coil because not having the bracelets is so convenient, but the bracelets give you more physical experience than emotional or bioenergetic. And so you still should use the bracelets a couple times a week. So I generally do that when I go walking. I will just put it on, the bracelets under my jacket so the wires don't get in my way. And programs on the Pink Dot app are usually run from like 40 minutes to 70 minutes. So you want to be able to run those like while you're doing something else, because you're not going to sit there for that amount of time. So I love to use them when I'm exercising, when I'm going walking or hiking. That's perfect time. So it's pretty easy to fit them in if you just say, okay, I get up and have a cup of coffee in the morning, and I generally sit there and read the paper. So that's another good time to run a longer program. The Blue Dot program is amazing because it, as I said, it analyzes you. And then after it analyzes you, it gives you a number of programs that you need. Well, you have the ability to stay on the Blue Dot app and just run those programs for as little as 1 minute and 20 seconds. And I've done testing with this. So I'll write down everything that came up and what it's ranked at. And then I'll do the 1 minute and 20 seconds and reanalyze and look at what happened. And there's always a definite positive impact from just 1 minute and 20 seconds. So you can do a lot of those, in a morning while you're reading the newspaper. So as I said, there's tons and tons of program. The pain program, or which I'm not supposed to even say that word. So the discomfort program is FDA approved for pain relief. So, and the Healy is a class 2, FDA approved as a class 2 medical device, and so is the Beamer. So one of the good examples I have of how the Healy has worked in my family is my husband, before he passed, was having all kinds of anxiety attacks, and they were really bad attacks. I mean, he couldn't talk. He'd never stuttered in his life, and he was stuttering, and his head was moving all by itself. It was really scary. And the anxiety program is only 20 minutes. I'd run the anxiety program on him, and before he was done with the program, the anxiety was gone, which was such a blessing because I'd never seen anxiety attacks before, and they're kind of scary. So the programs are really used to improve your well-being, get your bioenergetic harmony in motion, and some of them just absolutely feel great. And the Healy also has sleep programs, and you can actually run the sleep program during the day, and it will impact your sleep at night. There's tons and tons and tons of testimonials on the Healy. It doesn't take long for you to find many testimonials. In fact, because we're all energy, and not only are we all energy, everything on earth is just energy. It's just either a dense energy, so it's more solid, or it's fluid. And a good example of that is, the difference between like steam, water, and ice, because that sort of gives you an idea of how that density makes a difference in the form. So you have the ability with the Healy to Healy your house or Healy your car. I've seen testimonials about people who are having trouble with their printer, and they Healy'd the printer and it started working. So I haven't done any of that. I'm just telling you what I've heard. So there's another amazing thing that comes with the Healy. It's called the Heal Advisor. And so these practitioners throughout Europe who worked on developing like the different types of frequencies you need for a particular type of function. And so they, over course of time, realized that if they use these certain frequencies, it would really help fibromyalgia. Or if they use these kinds of frequencies, it might help depression. And so what they did was they started, comparing notes and deciding what protocol you would use for, say, diabetes. And the Heal Advisor, I can actually pull up on my phone, type in diabetes, and it will tell me the 5 major programs that should be used for somebody that has diabetes. And it would also tell me about 15 more programs that would be useful. So if you're trying to work on a particular issue, you're going to get all kinds of information on it. So the Heal Advisor is pretty cool. So then there's some other simple things I've used. So this is a energy pen, and it's got crystals in it. And if you remember from our frequency talk, you know, crystals have a frequency also, and different crystals have different frequencies. So I went to a party one time and I had a terrible toothache, and a lady had one of these, and she had me just do circles around the area that hurt. And in like a minute, my toothache was gone because the frequency was helping it. That was amazing to me. So I bought it on the spot. It was only $100. So compared to some of the other things I've bought for wellness, that was like nothing. So this is kind of a fun device. And then I just want to talk a second or two about something new I'm trying. So I haven't any stories yet on this, but I will get back to you when I do. It's called a X39 patch, and it comes from a company called LifeWave. It activates your stem cells. It uses phototherapy, and it uses your own light to produce younger and healthier stem cells. So those patches are rapid pain relief, reduced inflammation, energy and vitality, mental clarity. It enhances wound healing, provides faster recovery from exercise. It enhances your sports performance and improves the appearance of your skin. So, I mean, I wanted to add that in there because I see here somebody has said, oh, how much is it, right? So I will talk a little bit about the price of the Beamer, the Healy, the pen I already mentioned, and the patches, just so you can see that there's lots and lots of choices for you to get frequency healing into your life. So the Beamer costs $6,000. And I told you, I believe it was worth every penny. And every day, I tell you what, I love my Beamer. I never miss using it because it's made that much of a change in my life. And I loved it when the different times, like when I broke my rib, injured my knee badly, fell off the pontoon boat onto the trailer and was in horrible pain. And in those times, it just takes care of that kind of the pain. So I love that. And then the Healy ranges in price from about $500 to $4,000. Right now, for the month of March, which is quickly coming to an end, they have a great deal on Healy where you can get the $4,000 model for, I think, the $1,500 price. So there is a sale going on, so it's important to know that. I really, the $4,000 one has everything you could ever need, and it's really amazing. The $1,500 one probably has enough because as I showed you, all of those programs, and it's like, how much can you do? So it's actually a fairly good price. The cheaper ones I wouldn't buy because they don't come with the Blue Dot program. And if you remember, the Blue Dot program is where you get the analysis. So the analysis, I think, is a really important part of this therapy. And then the patches, the X39 patch is about $100 a month. And so when you think about prices, I want you to think about, like, for example, I take a lot of different supplements, and, you know, some of them are $50 a month. Well, in 10 years, I could have had a Beamer, you know, so you got to look at it from a different perspective. So Jen, do you want to take the questions and give me,
Certainly, yep. Excuse me. There were questions about the price, so you covered that. Somebody asked about biomat and your thoughts on the biomat.
well, I actually have a biomat and I love that too. And it's filled with crystals and it also heats up. So, you know, it's kind of like the greatest thing to put under your mattress pad and just have your bed heated in the wintertime before you go to bed. And then you get the impact of the frequency of the crystals. And I can't tell you what a biomat costs these days, but I'm thinking it's around 2,000. I bought mine used for 500, just so you know, there are used things out there too. So there's, Jen, were you going to say something?
Yep, I'm sorry. I actually was coughing.
Oh, sorry.
Someone asks, as new frequencies come out for healing, do you have to purchase them from Healy, or do they automatically add them to the device?
You know, that's a hard question to answer because the owner of the company gets so excited sometimes when he develops a program that he just gives it to us. I know that they're trying to make it so we pay for them, but he sometimes gets overwhelmed with his new invention, and he just gives it to everybody. And most of the programs, extra programs I've had since I purchased it, he has given to us. You can buy programs. You can even work with a practitioner that has, you know, used Healy to help others, and they will write a program just for you and your circumstances, so it can be customized in that way. They do have, they tried to go to a subscription model and everybody quit selling it, so that went away, and I'm really glad about that because I don't like having to go back again and again and again when, you know, you can get it all in one package. So
awesome. Deborah asks, can Healy or Beamer help with osteoporosis?
you know what, Healy and Beamer will help with all of the functions in the body. And so we try not to say that it will help with a certain disease, but my personal belief is it helps your body in so many ways that your body starts to heal naturally, and we have the ability to heal anything. Our bodies have that ability.
Francis asked, is the $4,000 Healy on sale for $1,500 during the month of March?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull out the flyer. I think I know exactly where it is. I should. Here we go. It says buy a professional model, which is a $4,000 model, for the price of the Resonance Edition, which is the $1,500 model. Yep, the answer is absolutely yes. And it is on sale until March 31st. And do not call me on March 31st because everything crashes on the last day of a sale, just so you know.
That's right. You guys have until next Wednesday at that.
Yeah, don't wait till Thursday because I have had, what happens is everything crashes and then you have to beg customer service to put it in later and it becomes a hassle, and I don't like hassles. So there you go.
Right. DB asks, have you heard of Alpha Stim and what are your thoughts on that?
I have not heard of Alpha Stim, but based on the name, I'm assuming it is also a frequency device. So, and you know what? I'm not telling you that the Beamer and the Healy are the best in class. they're the ones that when I did my research, I chose them because of what they offered, and also because generally I heard about them from a trusted source. And I see here somebody else wants to know about the Aos machine, and I'm not familiar with that one. So, oh, clips to your, oh, okay. So I see she put alpha stim clicks to your earlobes and helps with anxiety and depression. So that could be one of two things, you know, it could be frequency, or it also could be hitting the right meridians, and that would be helping too.
Let's see, Deborah wanted to know the price of that pen. That was, you said $100.
Yeah, and I bought that a long time ago. I'm not sure that you can get that particular one, but I did go out and Google energy pens and found a bunch of them.
Awesome. So, yep, Google energy pens. I'm sure Amazon has a ton. Let's see what else. Okay, Jean added the link for the beamer. So if you all wanted to get more information on that, you can copy that link and check it out.
But if you're interested in purchasing any of these things, the easiest way is to call me or email me, and I just put my phone number out there too. I know my email was out there earlier, so.
Yeah, can you repeat your, oh, did you put it in the chat?
My phone number's in the chat.
Oh,
And I'll
wonderful.
put my email in there one more time too.
Sorry, can you
Terrific.
put the link? Can you please put the link again? I missed it.
Yeah, we can definitely resend that, Amy, no worries.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm putting a link here also that's called Reverse Aging with GHK. That is telling you exactly what the patches do, that I didn't spend very much time on because I was going long.
Okay, Deb had a question about whether the Healy and Beamer can be used if they have a spinal cord simulator implanted in their back for nerve pain throughout the hip, tailbone, leg, foot, and back.
You know what? There are some devices that you cannot use the Beamer and the Healy with. I would have to do some research on that. So, you know, just give me a call and I'll get the question written down and let me do some research and I can get back to you.
Perfect. Any other questions for Jean this morning?
You guys are way too easy today.
I am including our website address again, as well as my email address. So if you are looking for having a copy of the recording sent to you, please email me directly. It's jgilbertson at Whole Foods. If I could spell it right, that'd be great. .coop. There we go. And I'll have that ready to go probably later this afternoon. So don't look for it right away. It takes a little time to download.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's always fun. I know it's weird, but it's always fun for me to help people learn more about wellness.
Well, you do such a terrific job with it too, Jean. We're really grateful to have you and your wealth of information. It's so wonderful to share it with everybody else.
Yeah, that's what getting hit over the head, hit by a 2x4 to the head when God decided I needed to make some changes.
Well, and you took that information and ran with it for sure.
This is true.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for attending today. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. We have more classes coming up with different themes. So make sure you check out our website or find us again through Eventbrite. Stay well and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you, Jean.